As the second negative rebuttal, I will be talking about the significance and solvency problems of the further cited speeches. The significance issue seems to be that people have a legal right to die, and that this is being denied to them. However, in the Supreme Court case of Washington v. Glucksberg, the final verdict was, our decisions lead us to conclude that the asserted right to assistance in committing suicide is not a fundamental liberty protected by the Due Process Clause. And the Due Process Clause is in the 5th and 14th Amendment, which says that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process. And this case is saying that the liberty or the freedom to have assistance in committing suicide is not a right that's protected by the United States Constitution. However, people do have the right to refuse treatment, but this is for a completely different reason. People have the right to refuse treatment because medical treatment involves an intrusion into our person, and it's this right against intrusion, and not the right to be able to choose how and when you die, that gives people the legal right to refuse treatment. Also, my solvency argument is that the point of a physician-assisted suicide policy is to prevent the suffering of terminally ill patients who are suffering unbearably. However, as seen by the Oregon Death and Dignity Act, there's almost no oversight to make sure that the people dying really are terminally ill, and that their suffering is unbearable. A big part of suffering isn't just the physical pain; it's also the mental component. And in 2003 and 2004, only 5% in Oregon of those who received lethal medication had a psychological consultation. And as I said before, there's almost no oversight over the physicians. It's actually in the law. It's a good faith clause that the person that the physicians give the lethal drugs to really are terminally ill and really are suffering unbearably. In one case, a patient received a lethal prescription but didn't take it and died over 2 years later of natural causes, even though the law says that the patient has to have a prognosis of 6 months or less to live. In another case, a woman with Alzheimer's disease and cancer received and carried through assisted suicide even after the psychological consult reported that she did not know what she was doing and was not aware of her surroundings, and that her daughter was the driving force behind the request.